Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is going to be a video covering the Finalmouse UltralightX. I do want to say that with this video being posted on Thanksgiving, I wish you and your families the best and healthiest Thanksgiving possible. To all my international friends or those who don't celebrate, I wish you guys the best as well. In the spirit of Thanksgiving, I do want to let you guys know I am going to be giving away this particular copy of the UltralightX. The details will follow in a few days. I'll be giving it away with Nacho Customs. I'll post the details here and on Twitter, but you will have to be a subscriber to the YouTube page in order to be in the running to win the particular mouse. So keep your eyes peeled. We will be giving away this copy of the UltralightX. Now, I have to say the UltralightX is definitely the mouse that I had the highest hopes for. I had the most anticipation for, just something I really wanted to get in my hand and see and feel. My first carbon fiber mouse, and the mouse that I thought would be starting a trend into the 30 grams. Really wanted to see how the performance would kind of change things up in game. The BeastX mouse that I have here on the right is pretty comparable to the Starlight 12 Medium, 43 grams in magnesium, 38 grams here on the UltralightX in carbon fiber. And I just have to say the weight differential here is not something that punched me in the head. It's not something that I was just noticing really easily in terms of performance. It really boiled down to shape and just structural integrity. I do have to say that the WL mouse is probably something I just didn't really have high hopes for. I thought it was going to have its series of issues. I just didn't have a whole lot of anticipation for the WL mouse. And I think my opinions are almost swapped now. The BeastX, I think, to me, is feeling like the better mouse, or something that I just like a little bit more overall as a package at $140 compared to $200. Now, my UltralightX has a series of issues or things that I want to point out, and I think you're going to fall into two camps. You're going to be somebody who cares about that, and if you pay $200, you want a pristine mouse, or you're going to be somebody who doesn't care, and all you care about is the performance of the mouse, and you're going to brush away all of those other things just to have the lighter weight and the 4K/8K implementation on the UltralightX. Just going off of my list of things that I can point out for you, the shell design itself does have areas that are indented or have divots. You can see on my Mouse 1 and Mouse 2, the switches are actually imprinted onto the carbon fiber, and this was like this out of the box before I even used it. And I don't have a lot of use on this mouse because, again, I'm going to be giving it away. But Mouse 1 and Mouse 2 do have divots on the shell where you can see the squares of the switches here, here as well as here. I also have a divot above the scroll wheel in the carbon fiber. I have divots on the top shell towards the bottom left and bottom right. Even in this area here, I have little divots. And then on the bottom structure as well, I've got divots and little areas of little imprinted circles towards the bottom shell of the mouse. So I think that might be something that bothers you for $200, having areas of indentations on the mouse or just areas that don't look perfect on the shell. There is an area on the right side of the mouse that is a little bit too much of a gap here from the top shell and the side structure. So if you are moving your ring finger upwards, this area of the top shell can actually poke you, which is a little bit of a nuisance as well. Of course, not something, again, that will affect your overall performance. And then one of the big issues is definitely the side structure in general. The issue that people have pointed out, you can see that side structure is just not properly attached to the bottom shell of the mouse. So you have a lot of flex in that very thin carbon fiber shell structure that feels creaky and flexes inward as you are pushing in those areas. For me, my grip width, the area that I grip the mouse, I don't get to that area. So for me, it didn't affect my overall experience in game. I still had a little bit of flex, and every once in a while you kind of have this feeling while you're playing like, am I breaking the mouse right now? So it kind of is something that you think about while you're playing, but again, not something that really affected my in-game performance whatsoever. Really an issue that if you are somebody who hits the bottom portion of that side structure, it really just is interesting that that much side flex exists on this type of a release. Not something I've seen on Finalmouse products before, and was a little bit of a letdown. Now, the overall honeycomb design on the left of the mouse, as you are playing, it definitely develops a little bit of moisture retention. It gets a little slippery on the side of the mouse near the honeycombs. Mouse 1 and Mouse 2, though, feel awesome. It's a very grippy, maintains like a level of chalkiness to it that really does feel nice. But again, just that side structure where my thumb rests, a little bit of an issue. But there are, of course, grips that you can buy, and there are grips that come with the mouse that might potentially resolve that issue for you. I've seen a lot of issues with the scroll wheel. Other than my scroll being just a little bit scratchy feeling, it does feel really nice. I didn't have any issues scrolling up, scrolling down, or spamming mouse 3. I love all Finalmouse side buttons that we've seen on the Cape Town, the Air 58, the Starlight 12. Just very clicky, very responsive, and here just very little post-travel and barely any pre-travel. One of the issues I have with Mouse 1 and Mouse 2, when you actuate the switch, which both clicks feel really nice, very, very fast, very responsive, but when you push down and actuate Mouse 1, if you are an attack shooter and you're spraying, or you're tracking somebody in Apex and holding down Mouse 1, as you hold it down, you will feel a bit of post-travel, and you will feel that carbon fiber actually flexing over the switch. That's something that might annoy you, but I don't think it is the biggest issue, but definitely something to point out. If you're somebody who clicks Mouse 1 or Mouse 2 close to the scroll wheel, you might feel a bit of grinding of that carbon fiber on Mouse 1 or Mouse 2 over this area above the scroll wheel. As it kind of flexes, it does grind on that area under Mouse 1 and Mouse 2, so keep that in mind as well. Now, the side structure flexing and creaking and kind of popping like that in those areas, to me, it just feels like a glorified 3D printed mouse. It just doesn't feel that good at all. And again, you're going to fall into two camps. Either somebody who really cares about that, and for $200 you wanted something perfect, and you're not going to accept that type of quality, or you're going to be somebody who just doesn't care. You love Finalmouse, you love the performance of the mouse, and you're going to brush that issue to the side. But I do have to point out that the top shell flexes inward very easily. So if you're somebody who's claw gripping and you use the bottom portion of your palm to kind of get a bit of a grip on the mouse, depending on your hand size, if you are pushing down, that carbon fiber just flexes really, really easily towards the butt of the mouse, and even towards certain areas on the top shell. It just pushes in very easily, like some of the 3D printed mice that I've had in the past. And dipping into the weight of the mouse again for the carbon fiber compared to the BeastX mouse magnesium, you've got 43 grams on the BeastX mouse, which is also 4K and a lot more rigid with its magnesium structure, 38 grams on the ULX in carbon fiber. So again, the difference between the two in the hand really is like inconsequential. It's not something that you would be performing better on just simply because the mouse is 5 grams lighter. I think aesthetically speaking, I, of course, enjoy the BeastX mouse a little bit more. I like a lot of their colors, and overall, the structural integrity is just much, much better. Surprisingly, again, I didn't have the most high expectations for the BeastX mouse, but I'll have a review of that soon. Another thing that I would point out on the ULX, just aesthetically speaking, I do wish there was a little shroud over the battery to not see that text there. The A950 magnesium mouse actually did that over the battery, and it looked really good. It made the whole thing look a lot sleeker when you're looking at the top of the mouse. And I do wish the battery cables were black. It just detracts away from the overall aesthetic of the mouse, which really does look nice with the black and gold accents. Towards the bottom of the mouse as well, I do have to point out that there are honeycomb cutouts over the adhesive of the battery, and I've just already got dust and little specks of things attaching to the adhesive there. So something that just, again, overall just detracts from the overall experience of the aesthetic of the mouse. That is really it for this one, guys. Again, I didn't want to put a whole lot of time into the mouse because I am going to be giving away this copy to one of you lucky people on the channel. I think that in terms of performance, a lot of these issues, again, for me, because I don't grip the mouse towards the bottom of the side structure, a lot of it just didn't really affect me. I have more of a fingertip grip, so I'm not really touching the top shell. So depending on, again, the end user, a lot of these issues are going to affect somebody more or less. But just issues that I did want to point out for you guys who were interested in paying the $200. I think for me, I did order another version of this mouse, and hopefully a lot of these issues, as we see the other batches, hopefully a lot of these issues are resolved by the factory that Finalmouse is using. Of course, Finalmouse is somebody who is really a trendsetter in the industry, and I think we have to thank them for that. If you're somebody who's really into lighter weight mice, they've really pushed the boundaries further and further and further. But I do think that, unfortunately for Finalmouse, it just seems like the factory had a few hiccups in the overall quality of the shell feel. So guys, that is going to be it for this one. I hope it helped. If it did, please leave a sub to the channel. I'll see you guys in the next review. Peace.